An extreme weather storm system so far has left, sadly, at least 55 people dead across the U.S. and Canada, with at least 28 dead in Buffalo, New York alone, which was hit by far the hardest. People have been found dead in their cars after being stranded outside in snowbanks, even while shoveling their driveways. Biden now authorizing the Department of Homeland Security to coordinate with New York's disaster relief after the governor there requested help. Meanwhile, nearly 2,900 flights canceled just today, with the bulk of them, more than 2,500 in fact, coming from Southwest. That's after 4,000 were canceled yesterday, with again the vast majority coming from Southwest Airlines, about 1,000. And that has grabbed the attention of the Department of Transportation. Joining us live in D.C. to explain more, Real America's Voice correspondent Chris Carter. Good to see you. So, Chris, what's the department actually hoping to uncover here, and what can it actually do, frankly, to prevent a repeat of what we've been seeing over the past several days?
Well, hey, Miranda, pleasure to be with you this evening. Yeah, chilly evening in Washington, indeed, as the Department of Transportation, under the leadership of Secretary Buttigieg, scrambles to explain to these people sleeping in airports right now what happened. Now, let me tell you what I know. In my area, one of the major problems is Baltimore-Washington International Airport. They account for about 70% of Southwest. This is the company under the microscope here, of their market share of that airport. Now, what we're hearing is that the logistical software that schedules these flight crews and these pilots and moves them from airport to airport has been a work in progress for quite some time. Let's just put it that way, to say it lightly. What they're saying is the software was antiquated and that the company hasn't invested in these logistical operations that they need to make sure their airline functions adequately. And the advantage they used to have was that they would use a point system so they could take longer direct flights. A lot of these airlines, like Delta, they hub out of Atlanta. The biggest problem with Southwest is Denver, and on the East Coast, probably, I would say, Baltimore-Washington International Airport. I know someone who flew Delta this evening and walked right in and flew no problem. So it seems to be a company-specific problem with tons of flights canceled, about 4,000 we're hearing on Southwest just today alone.
Yeah, when you say an antiquated system, I mean, there seems to be, which is obviously why the department's investigating, as I mentioned, 4,000 and 3,000 of them alone yesterday came from Southwest, and the vast majority today. Again, 2,500 out of 2,900 Southwest Airlines. Why is Southwest so behind, though? I know you mentioned Buffalo and Denver and Baltimore, I believe, being some of the, but if you can, why? Why is it so specific?
Sure. Well, when you look at the statements coming out of the TWU, that's the union that represents these pilots and these flight attendants. What they're saying is the company didn't have the foresight to invest in this technology that they could see coming. Now, when you compound that with a major weather incident like we've had, coupled with a triple-demic, their system was not able to handle the amount of people that were calling out sick because of COVID requirements. And then also what would happen with people being stranded, maybe not being able to get to their jobs, along with weather and safety. I mean, let's not forget, these airlines have done quite a good job in the last decade keeping us safe. Now, whether or not you're happy with your luggage getting there, that's a different story. The Department of Transportation here, I have a statement. I'll read this to you. What they said is they're concerned by Southwest's unacceptable rate of cancellations and delays and reports a lack of prompt customer service. We've heard people waiting on the phone for 5 hours, people sleeping in the airports.